These days, most of us rely on gimbals for a lot of our filmmaking needs. But let's be honest, there's still a lot of problems with them. Every time I review a gimbal, it feels like it's so much better than the last generation, but there still ends up being these little issues that pop up. I'm really hoping that DJI has fixed most of them with the Ronin S3 Pro. I've got one here, we're in Hawaii, and I'm just gonna take it for a spin and see what drives me crazy about it. I'm hoping nothing. And at the end of the video, we're gonna mount this on it. Actually, maybe. I have no idea if this is gonna support the weight, but we'll find out. I'm gonna start with kind of a medium weight setup. This is the Canon R5 with the 16-35 lens. So it's definitely gonna be able to support this. I wanna see how it can kind of handle briefcase mode, moving it in and out, because the last gimbal that I was using, the Zhiyun Crane S2, what was it called? It was fantastic until I started bringing the weight forward, and then it would start to stress out. Let's get some chickens. Don't run away. Just want you to be cinematic, that's all. Oh yeah, this is actually really good. This looks great. All right, well, no luck with the chickens yet, but I guess that's what I'll be trying all day, is to hunt them down. But I do love this addition of this briefcase arm. So like in this kind of hybrid model of a single hand gimbal, you can do this crossover thing. We've gone through this crazy evolution of a bunch of different gimbals and different designs, and I wanted to test some new gear. So I brought my friend over, Matt, who has kind of been hosting us while we've been in Hawaii, showing us around, and he brought some of his gear. Thanks for coming, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Matt, you brought by your Ronin M, which this is from what year?
So it came out in 2015.
And this was, as I remember, this is the first good gimbal. Like, we had gimbals, but this is the one.
Kind of switched things up or changed the gimbal game. What I love is kind of the two-handed grip. I feel like it just gave a little more stability, a little more precision and control.
One of the worst things too is you can't just like put it down. That's actually like horrible about it. It's a pretty huge step forward when you put all the weight below it and now all of a sudden you got feet. Let's chase some chickens.
Are you gonna do the honors?
No, you're gonna do the honors. There's one right here, don't miss them. I want you to be cinematic, that's all. All right, so now I've got it rigged up with the C70, and to me this has just been the ultimate portable rig for getting actual cinematic stuff on, you know, like a cinema grade camera that I can hold with one hand. So the RS3 Pro has no problem bearing all of the weight of the C70 with a proper RF or EF lens. Last year I'd been using the Zhiyun Crane S2, which could support a similar amount of weight, but it would really struggle as soon as I came forward. Maybe the most important thing about choosing a gimbal is that you can have confidence with it, so buy one that is rated for a little more weight than you plan to use with it. The RS3 Pro is rated for almost 10 pounds.
Man, this is way lighter than I thought it would be.
Stick your hand straight out. How long can you hold it there for?
Longer than I thought.
Hopefully you don't have a shoot that requires that.
Yeah, but that's not too bad.
The best party trick for the RS3 is its locking axis. So if I press and hold the button, it locks into place and it stays there. You've probably already seen this. I was surprised when I saw it, and it was actually kind of amazing. But this is gonna be more than just a party trick in the long run. I think any gimbal that doesn't do this in the future is gonna feel outdated. I mean, I remember when we first got any locking axis, which this still has. You can manually use the buttons to lock it on your own, and this was a huge step forward. I think it was the Ronin S the first time I used it, and once you get used to it, you can't go back, and that's exactly what's gonna happen with these new ones. Now, even better than the power off lock is the sleep mode. So if I just press the button once, it locks in place and I can carry it around, and this also is gonna preserve the battery life even longer because you don't have to turn it on and off or keep it on to walk around comfortably. I think this is the biggest contribution the RS3 is gonna make to the whole gimbal industry. Just so you know, this video isn't sponsored by DJI. They sent me this gimbal so I could review it and say whatever I want, and I'm looking for problems with it. And I did find some that I will tell you about, but overall, there's just been a lot of good. However, this video does have a sponsor. It's brought to you by the new video editing platform from Artlist, FXhome. If you appreciate great hardware for shooting your videos, you also need great software to go through it, and the sponsor of this video, Artlist FXhome, is going to help you with that. I'm sure you've heard the name Artlist before. They're a great source for music and audio effects, but now they're branching out even further into video production and image editing, and they can help you do it for free. So if you hit the link in the description, you're going to see something very cool. At FXhome, you'll get free, powerful video editing software. Just hit the download button and start using it right away. The software is called HitFilm, and it just takes a second to jump into it. So here's a quick video I just put together in a few minutes using a bunch of drone and GoPro footage from Hawaii. Now, of course, sometimes the hardest thing about picking up new software is learning how to use it, but they've made that really easy in HitFilm. If you click Learn, you've got a whole set of different tools so they can walk you through how to set up your very first project and through all the important parts of editing like audio and even filmmaking, like how to stabilize your footage. I've already added conversion lists to everything, so I'm just gonna do some quick grading to bring out the color. Underwater footage starts to really pop when you add some contrast and warm it up. And what's really unique, because Artlist is doing this, is they have built-in libraries of music, sound effects, and templates. So I already added a cinematic song. I'm going to choose some sound effects to really make this feel refined. Go into the nature section. Obviously we have waves crashing. They've got underwater bubbles. Obviously that's perfect for this. In the middle here, I've got this zoom effect, so I need a sound effect to go with that. I'm going to use a whoosh. And just like that, I got a quick cinematic montage of what we did in Hawaii. And FXhome can grow with you, so for free you can download HitFilm and start exporting unlimited HD videos, or with the creator subscription you get HitFilm and iMerge, their image editing software, and unlimited exports in 4K. That also unlocks 100 songs, 100 sound effects, and 25 templates. Or with the Pro plan you also add Mocha HitFilm, Boris FX 3D objects, and Foundry 3D camera tracker for just $10 a month. So now's the time to hit that link in the description because there's a special launch offer, 23% off for new subscribers. Go click it right now, and thanks again to Artlist for sponsoring this video. One piece of tech that Gimbals have gotten amazing at, but I still don't know what to do with it, is active track. So right now I'm monitoring on RavenEye through my iPhone. This is incredible, works great, but I don't know what to do with it. So if I select my face, it knows to follow me. I mean, that's amazing. Like it actually works. They've refined this for a long time with their drones. You know, any DJI drone can do a good job of this, which is where it's actually a little more useful. But I don't see people in the real world recording A-roll, randomly pacing back and forth just to have a robot track them. So do you guys have a use case for this that you actually use it in real life? Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to see examples of how this makes people's video production actually look better. Another thing that's cursed gimbals since the beginning is controlling your camera while you're also controlling the gimbal. This is still hard, but the RS3 gets it better than anything else has before. I find the Bluetooth connection to my R5 to be totally rock solid. It also automatically reconnects every time they get near each other and they're both powered on. This means I'm going to use it way more often. I found with previous gimbals, I just wouldn't even use the record button because it was so unreliable. I never knew if it was going to work. If I use the USB-C cable, it gets even better, and I can also control the ISO and the shutter speed and aperture, everything basically, all through the USB-C. Now, this doesn't work with my C70. In fact, I can't do the Bluetooth controls at all. So I'd love to see more camera manufacturers supporting this all around. The manual focus control, which I've had available on a bunch of my older gimbals, I never used it. It didn't work. Like, I couldn't trust it at all. So I didn't turn it on. But now they've gone a lot further on the RS3 Pro than ever before. So for one thing, if you don't even have autofocus on your camera or your lens, you can use their focus system, which you can control on the dial with your finger. Not the best solution. Better yet, you can use the high bright monitor and somebody else can focus for you. Or their new LiDAR solution can basically add autofocus to any lens. I haven't fully tested it out yet, so I'm not going to review that aspect of it, but it's pretty amazing that all of this is packed into one kit. There are a few downsides to the RS3. I did find a few negatives. So one big one is that this briefcase handle, it's a nice addition, but you can't fully trust it, I find. There is a little safety on the bottom that more or less keeps it there, but you have to keep an eye on it. You kind of got to babysit that it's always being tightened. Otherwise you can be walking around and suddenly your whole rig is on the ground. Definitely be careful about this NATO clamp. Almost everything about the locking system is fantastic, but since I'm looking for faults here, one is that it takes a little too long to detect that there's no camera. So if I turn it on, I still get the crazy vibrations, and I just wish it would notice that there's nothing on here and it doesn't need to vibrate like crazy. I think it freaks people out when that happens and can definitely potentially break something. And this is something, because we're at the refinement stage of gimbals, it could lock sooner, so It should. This one's a bit of a warning. It's not really the fault of Ronin, but the Raven Eye goes through batteries really fast. I'm not surprised. It's wireless image transmission and it does an amazing job, but you will need extra Ronin batteries if you're going to get through a whole day. And I'm not really used to that. Usually one battery is a lot for a full day of shooting, but yeah, Raven Eye totally crushes them, so you're going to need a few. I say we give it a shot. Where to start?
Push it to the limit.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Can you shift it on? Oh, hey! Calibrating. Calibration complete. That is actually crazy. I mean, this with a light lens is too much weight for some people.
Focus right now, so.
Wow, so does that even have a shot? Matt, thanks again for coming on this video and having us here on Maui. What should people do if they come to Maui?
So I say two things, Road to Hana, sunset up at Haleakala.
Yeah, we've done both. And they're on Matt's channel, so go to Wake Up Matt, check it out, and thanks again for having us.
Thank you, pleasure's all mine.
There are a few pieces of production gear that have had crazy upgrade cycles for a few years now. I mean, cameras, drones, gimbals, wireless mics, and lighting, all of them have just been moving so quickly that it feels like you need to keep upgrading just to have your work look as good as everyone else's. And now I feel like we finally hit a bit of a plateau with gimbals in a good way. I don't think there's going to be quite as much pressure from now on to keep getting new ones because most of the most important things have finally been checked off. Like cameras with the C70 and the FX6, once they became 10-bit and had all of the essential features, you just don't need to upgrade quite as often and you can do professional looking work without any compromise. If you found this helpful at all, I've got a whole playlist of videos to improve your filmmaking. Just click it right now and I'll see you guys in the next video.